All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about my actual experience and how it's been using this phone since I got it like 9-10 days ago. So let's get into it. There's a lot of negative talk about this phone and a lot of, different opinions and different views and perspectives and all that stuff. But really how it's been using this phone, I use the phone a lot in one hand mode. So very comfortable, very easy to maneuver with one hand, very slim. Like this is probably my favorite thing about this phone right here is that I can reach across the screen very easily with one hand, one thumb. Pretty often when I'm using this phone, I can do whatever I want all with one finger. If I can't reach the top of the screen, one hand mode, reach the top of the screen, do everything I need to do. I often use multitasking on the outside screen, split screen, resize them very quickly. I often use floating windows and do different things like that. Like if I have the calculator open and need to calculate something, then I can put that to the side, go back to what I'm doing full screen. And I also type pretty often on the outer display. To be honest, I've always been bad at typing with one finger anyways, even on regular smartphones. So I mainly type with two fingers on the outer display on this phone. And for me, it's been a good experience. My hands are not like the biggest hands, obviously, but I don't think my hands are small at all. And I have a pretty good experience typing on this outer display, like typing on this outer display. I did make a mistake, but like if you saw how I'm filming this, it would make sense. So yeah, there's that like basic stuff. Like I do multitask, I do split screen, I do floating windows. I also type on this outer display. I also consume a lot of content on the outer display. Like I put on a video and then I can watch it like this, walk around, very easy to hold, by the way. Walk around, watch the video like this. If I'm not trying to commit to opening up the phone. And then there also are times where I open it up like this and I have it propped up and the video playing as I'm doing stuff with my headphones on, And then going again with the theme of like using the hinge, I do often watch videos like this. This is good enough for me. And just the fact that this phone can just be put down and propped up so you can see the screen whenever you need to is amazing for me. This is how I use the phone very, very, very often when I'm like doing different things, transitioning. I'm not like, sitting down doing something serious. The hinge and the flexibility of the hinge is just top tier for me. This was something I use every day. And then I also do this as well, which I think is pretty underrated. But basically you get like a full screen size and it's propped up like this. You might think like, oh, it looks uncomfortable, but if I angle it on the camera, you can see that the crease is like non-existent. It looks like one screen across, even though it's actually bent. So I do this pretty often as well. But going back to the cover display, I mainly use the cover display for casual things. So like, let's say I'm on Reddit, I go on Reddit, and I just scroll. I have no problems reading on Reddit. I have no problems viewing the pictures on Reddit, especially with the increase in screen size on this phone. I'm just scrolling on Reddit. I do this all the time. Read the Bible on this outer display. Very easily to read the text. I have no issues. And if you have issues, you can increase the screen size or the text. Then, I often use the remote for my TV. This is a very core function for me when it comes to like Samsung phones. And the fact that this is very slim, it's low-key like a TV remote. I have all my TV controls and that's it. I basically do everything that I would need a normal phone to do casually on the outer display with no problems. I actually enjoy it, in fact, because of how slim it is. Like I said, how easy it is to reach across the screen. Even the top of the screen, it's just one slight slide and I'm at the top of the screen. Then I go back. Like I mastered this movement right here to, control the phone. Because of how slim it is, it's very easy to maneuver in my hand, all without dropping it. And then on top of that, yeah, it's very holdable, so I don't feel like I'm going to drop it. It doesn't slip out of my hand at all. Then because of good luck, I got these controls set up. So swipe and hold. I have a quick launcher where it shows recent apps, and I can open any of these apps in pop-up view or split screen or just normally. So boom, I'm in Chrome. Get back out of that, boom, Reddit. So, and this is accessible anywhere on the phone. Let's say I'm on Reddit and I want to go to Chrome, swipe and hold, I can go to Chrome. Swipe and hold up, turn this app into a floating window if I want to. Swipe and hold down, I got my quick toggles, and now I can adjust my brightness, my volume, media controls, and then all these specific things I put here, like hotspot, for example. I can access all that very easily. Turn the phone to the right side if I want to, and then I can turn it back. Super easy, all with one thumb. Then, of course, I got my edge panel. I use this very, very frequently, like literally every day. Open up Chrome, and then I can tap another app, and then boom, I'm in split screen very quickly. Resize it as I need to. And then another thing that I do is if I'm watching a podcast like this one, I will have the podcast open in this small view, put it at the top, and then I can continue browsing the internet or doing whatever I need to do on the rest of the screen. And for me personally, this is big enough. I can get so much stuff done on this small screen with one hand, one finger. And if I need to, I can lock in and use two hands. But obviously if it gets serious, then literally just open up the phone and I can do whatever I want. But yeah, so now that we're on the inside screen anyways, let me just talk about how I use the inside screen. But now how I actually use the inside screen is for like more serious things, or, you know, more serious content consumption. So if I'm on YouTube and I'm actually trying to watch the video, then I'll use the inner display. And I often watch like this, you know, when I'm just looking at the video, want to see the comments at the same time. But if I'm locking in, then I'm going to put it like this and actually just full screen and watch the video. And then I might also pop out to see the comments again. I like this view as well. And then like I mentioned earlier, let's say I'm watching the video full screen. I need to go do something. I need to get up. All I do, prop up the phone. Very simple. It's chilling there. The hinge is very sturdy. Like Samsung hinges have always been the best, and they can sit at like any angle. There's no worry of the hinges snapping open like the OnePlus Open or other foldable phones. And it's super reliable. So I really enjoy content consumption on this phone because of how flexible it is. If I'm watching a YouTube video and I need to do something, 2-finger swipe to the side, open up an app like the internet, and I can, you know, check out different things. And then of course I play games on the inner display because, you know, this is why you buy this phone, for its big screen, right? So I play games on the inner display. I won't lie and tell you that it's the best experience because the aspect ratio is not the best for a lot of games. Unless you're emulating, then it's perfect for that, for older games. But certain games just work well. Like for example, this is Minecraft, and it works pretty good on this big display. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark right now in the game. It's nighttime. But yeah, certain games just work really well on the big screen. But this is, again, I'm talking about how I actually use this phone. So if I'm playing a game and I need to do something, or you know, something calls my attention, the thing I love about Samsung phones is this, like the floating window mechanic is so amazing. Swipe from the top right, and now I have a floating window that I can resize, manipulate on the fly while still being in my game. If I'm playing a game and I need to be online or something like that, or I need to, you know, watch and see what's going on, I can have it in floating window and continue doing stuff on my phone, whatever calls my attention. I can put it off to the side. It's still there, it's still running. It's not closed, it's not paused. The game is still going on. I'm still connected. If it's an online game, I don't need to worry about that. Continue doing what I'm doing. Open up split screen if I need to, you know, get another internet browser going on to compare whatever it is. Then boom, all that's done. Go back to my game if I want to, full screen that, and I'm in that. So the flexibility of these devices, this Z Fold 6 right here, is something that I use every single day and something that I very much appreciate. The fact that I can enter floating windows very easily, the fact that I can enter split screen very easily in whatever orientation I might need it. It's just super nice. And then I have my edge panel for, you know, accessing important apps anywhere on the phone if I need to. So I can open them up in full screen, or I can open them up in split screen or floating window. And the best thing is that all these features work with every single app on Samsung phones. These phones force those apps that are not compatible to work, and the little message used to pop up, but you can turn it off in good luck, so it doesn't tell you like, oh, it might not be compatible. You can just use everything. And so far in my experience, I have no problems running all apps in whatever way I want. But going back to gaming, I play games on this phone. One frequent way that I use this phone for gaming is in split screen, because games just don't fit this aspect ratio well. So when you have it in full screen, either you're gonna have to play in 16:9 for more compatibility, but then you don't use as much of the screen, or the game is full screen, but then the controls are cut off, the map is not good, it's zoomed in, the perspective is just off. So playing in split screen is one way to make the games actually run properly and still use a good portion of the screen. So I play often in split screen like this, have the game at the bottom, and you know, YouTube and Reddit at the top. So like if I go to my edge panel, go to Reddit, put that there, and now I can be watching podcasts and scrolling on Reddit in between game sessions. And this game, I know it looks weird right now, but Pokemon Unite is a game where you have to literally open it in the split screen orientation already. You can't open it and then change the way that the game is laid out. So I can't like rotate the phone or adjust the split screen. That's just how Pokemon Unite works on its phone. Then for Pokemon Unite, because it's glitched right now, I'm just gonna close the game. So close the game. Now the app here is on my home screen. If I just tap that, then the game is going to load up completely fine because it started in this orientation and it just works proper. So if you play any games and they have aspect ratio issues, and if you rotate your phone or if you add another app in split screen and the game gets ruined, just create an app here and start the game from the app here, and it should work fine as long as you stay in this setup. But yeah, I'm just showing you how I use my phone daily And I do this, like, I literally, you might think Reddit looks too small here, but I promise you it's not. Especially when you're waiting for the game to start or something like that. Like, I can read it. So let me see. Is there a Z Fold 6 case that has an internal silo that works like the Note used to work? So I read that very easily while I'm waiting for my game to start. My video is playing. This is just multitasking and content consumption on another level. I know people might think like, oh, it's too much going on. But man, the possibilities are just chill. Like, you can have music playing in a small little window right here and then reading Reddit more comfortably. If your game is too big, you can resize it. Obviously not Pokemon Unite because it gets messed up. But your game, you can resize it and then you have more space for Reddit. If you need to browse the internet to check something in your game, you can tap this, tap that icon, and then you can replace Reddit with the internet. Very quickly, very easily, super flexible. And something that people don't get with multitasking on the Samsung Z Fold series versus the OnePlus Open. The OnePlus Open does have its open canvas mode, so it jumps between, you know, different apps. You can have like 3 full screen apps open at the same time on OnePlus Open. Even with that, it's not as flexible as the Z Fold series, because the Z Fold series, you can literally manipulate any app to any size that you might want it to. And people think like, oh, it's, you know, small squares, who would want that? But like, certain apps don't need to be big. Like the calculator app doesn't need to be big. Calendar app doesn't need to be big for me to see it. And if it does need to be big, look how long it takes me to resize it. Less than a second to resize it. Less than a second to get a comfortable size. So the flexibility of the multitasking is just crazy on this device. And literally, this is the only app that I've experienced, Pokemon Unite, that has issues resizing. Most other apps, they resize very fine with no issues. And even if there are issues, I promise you it's more compatible than the OnePlus Open with its limitations. And, you know, certain apps can only be certain aspect ratios. And the reason why I'm showing you this, again, is to go back to say that this is how I use my phone every single day. I use my Z Fold 6 exactly like this every day. Do so many different things on it. And then if I'm not multitasking, then, you know, it's just really nice to have this big screen to, you know, do whatever I'm doing. If it's browsing the internet, social media, I don't really browse social media like that too much. But if I'm on social media, then it's okay. I rather just, you know, split screen so that it's more normal. And then I can browse social media like that. Or I can just use the other display for social media and it works completely fine. This is good enough for me. I use S Pen a lot for editing photos or making thumbnails and stuff like that. It's just really nice for the precise inputs and circling things in photos, you know, to like clean it up and stuff like that. Just works really nice. It's smooth. And yeah, it's just overall a nice little accessory to have for this phone. And then the last way that I use my phone that I'll show you is with the cameras. I talked about this in so many videos. My full review is going to include a lot of this stuff as well, but having this external viewfinder is invaluable to me. Like, I will take this with decent cameras over really amazing cameras that does not have this feature. Like putting this on a tripod, setting up my shot, I can go crazy with it. There's so many possibilities with an external viewfinder on your phone just built in. And then the other way that I use it is literally just putting the camera down with the hinge, and I can angle the camera however I want, show the viewfinder at the bottom so I don't have to strain my neck to take a picture or a video or something like that. It's just so cool. Like, look at the perspective of, there's these things right here you can see on the little viewfinder. This is a perspective that you wouldn't normally get unless, you know, you're struggling to try and bend down and take that picture. But with the Z Fold 6, I can literally just prop up the hinge and now boom, I have this perspective looking up at something on a desk. That's not a perspective that you can normally get. So yeah, the flexibility of this camera is just amazing. I love the pro video mode. Like, you can control all your video settings. Super nice. A lot of Android phones actually don't have a pro video mode. A lot of them have a pro photography mode, but they don't have, you know, the pro video mode. So the fact that Samsung has always had pro video is just really nice. And in combination with all the things this phone can do, it's just super sick, bro. Another thing that people talk about with these cameras is like, it's not good for pets and kids. In my experience, if I want a picture of my rabbit, I'll get a picture of my rabbit. If I want a picture of my kid, then I'll get a picture of my kid. Like, I feel like I don't really struggle. I don't have any issues taking pictures of my daughter and my rabbit. And you might say like, oh, that's a bright scenario. There's a lot of light in that scene. It's my daughter. She went in the room and she lay down next to my bunny. But this was just like on the spot, to take a picture real quick. And she was moving around. I just caught her in this pose because the camera just worked. And the lighting is not that good. Like, if you zoom in, there's not a lot of detail. But for me, this is good enough, bro. my daughter playing with her toys. I got her, it was fine. Moving around and playing with her toys, I feel like it was decent. The details are not going to be the best, but I could live with that. Like, this one is pretty decent. You know, a selfie with my daughter. Caught her with the flash. Caught her without the flash, you know. And she was walking around doing stuff. So you might have a hard time depending on the subject. You know, some kids might move more than others. Some animals might move more than others or whatever. It's not like my bunny and my daughter were, you know, super still. This phone was able to capture photos. If I really want a decent photo of whatever I'm trying to take a picture of, I can get that picture. And these are just like point and shoot. I can definitely get better pictures than these if I wanted to. I feel like I'm not limited by this camera in terms of like getting the clearest picture of whatever I want to get a picture of. I feel like if I want a picture, I can go and get it. I'm not like, oh damn, I have my Z Fold with me. I wish I brought my iPhone. I wish I brought my S24 Ultra. I don't feel like that at all. Like, I feel like pretty confident that I can get a good picture with this phone. So that's been my experience, how it actually is to really use this phone. A lot of people are talking, and I'm not convinced that a lot of people are actually, you know, people who would use this kind of phone, or even a Samsung Z Fold in general. You know, I feel like a lot of people, they look at the exterior, they look at the headlines and the things that people are saying, the spec sheet, and then they make their judgments on that, which is fine. But, you know, we need people who actually use these devices to share what it's actually like to use them. So that's why I made this video. I got full reviews coming on this, like actual reviews. This is just kind of me talking. Subscribe for all that. Stay tuned, lock in, because I got a lot coming out. Consider becoming a member so that you can support the channel with getting these devices and stuff, because, you know, it's expensive. But that is all for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was useful for you. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We out. Peace.